Oh, Skype, why you change? Why you change? How do I make that bigger?
Euphemism?
Yeah. More options. Hang on. I'm not used to it being this small. Oh, God, I've said it again. Wow. Where did that come from?
There's some deep-seated issues we're working through here tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Grand Prix Podcast. I'm Elton and this is Andy.
Hello there.
And you're in the States, aren't you?
Yeah, I won't go into all the details for everyone, but look, 48 hours ago I didn't know I was going to be here. I kind of fell asleep on the district line, and next thing you know, I'm in California.
It happens, man. It happens.
It does. So if this sounds a bit dodgy, I'm sorry. I'm on my phone doing this, but we'll get through. We're a professional operation here.
Well, yeah, apparently so. Yes.
Yeah, seriously, because Elton didn't know I was going to be here, because I didn't know I was going to be here, and all of a sudden I'm here. So
I thought you were going to be in Norwich.
I was the original plan was I was going to go to Norwich to go to a Comic-Con, right? And instead, I'm in California. So yeah. On the plus side, it did mean I got to wake up at 3 o'clock to be ready for the 4 a.m. start of this sodding race.
Oh wow, that's gotta hurt.
Well, it wasn't too bad because I only landed yesterday, so I'm still jet lagged all to hell. So, I mean, my body thinks it's currently like 8:30, whereas the actual time here is 12:30.
I can't think of if you got a good deal for not going to Norwich, or I think you did actually.
Probably did. On the plus side is I get to see my wife, so I think whatever you say, that's definitely a plus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm not having a go at Norwich. I'm sure it's a lovely place if you live up there. I am not a fan though.
I was going to say all of our listeners in Norwich have suddenly just switched off.
They have, yes, and they've probably gone to like another Norwich podcast somewhere. Oh well, never mind. It's like an open prison, and the people up there don't know it. Anyway, so I'm glad I've destroyed all of Norwich.
Excellent. Well done, sir. Well done.
Yes. In one foul swoop. So, so we're here to talk about the Russian Grand Prix. Now,
yes,
I think we both will have thoughts about this, but
I think we have thoughts, yes.
Yeah. Do you want to give me a little highlight as to what your thoughts would be for that?
For the most part, I enjoyed it. It was certainly better than last week's, so... that's my general thoughts.
Okay, cool. I found it tedious.
Worse than last week, though?
On par with last week.
Ooh, no. See, I don't think it was that bad.
I think the whole weekend was very, very poor.
Oh, see, there's the bonus though. You see, I missed all of that because I was on a plane during qualifying.
Oh well, good luck to you. I'll get into that.
Also, can I just rant a little bit? Look,
yeah.
British Airways. 21st century here. Sort out your sodding planes. Get some internet connections on there. Let us watch TV and things. Because I've got a little bloody screen which is literally smaller than my iPhone in the back of a bloody 777 seat, which is shit. It looks terrible. Sort it out, okay?
There we go. Yeah. I'm sure by your return flight that they'll have that sorted out.
Even out on barred from flying.
Yeah, you'll have to walk.
Yes.
Okay, so in between the last race, Singapore, and this race, the Russian Grand Prix, did anything happen newsworthy?
A couple of little things happened. Should we just start with the big one, which I don't think anyone saw coming?
Yeah, go on then.
Danny Kvyat's back next year.
Didn't we hear rumours of this, but we both poo-pooed it?
Yeah, there was rumours. There was absolute proven, because really, of all of the possible drivers looking for seats next year, of all of the up-and-coming, the GP2 stars, of the current Formula One drivers without seats, Esteban Ocon doesn't have a seat. Of all of these people, the last one, not the last one, the second to last one was Danny Kvyat. Would you like to guess what the first one was?
Jolyon Palmer.
Hey!
Oh dear, we will never forget the blessed that is Julian Palmer.
We will not know. So, that's that.
So hang on. So he was in Toro Rosso. He got bumped up to Red Bull. He got then bumped down to Toro Rosso. He kept his seat at Toro Rosso. Then got kicked out of there.
Despite us thinking he would never keep it, we didn't think he'd done enough that season to stay, but
that's
he did.
right. Yeah. And then got kicked out. Went to Ferrari.
Yes.
And sat on their bench for a little while, and now he's gone back to Toro Rosso.
Yes.
What a journey.
All I can say is those oligarchs got a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking is going on there. So
look, it's safe hands in a pretty good car, isn't it?
Potentially.
Oh yeah.
This, it's a Honda powered Toro Rosso. It's going to be very different from what he was racing before. He's not actually driven a Formula One car in over a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, okay, he's been in the Ferrari simulator, but I don't know if it's going to be much transfer. It's not like he's bringing a little black book full of Ferrari secrets over with him.
No, that's right.
I don't think he's going to do any worse than Hartley's done, to be fair. So,
well, maybe they're looking at that and going, well, the other guys are either too young, inexperienced, or just have no real potential. And Kvyat sat there wasting away with a lot of untapped potential, I think.
Yeah, very much so. And he didn't burn any bridges when he left, so
no.
So well done there. So so Danny Kvyat's back next season with Toro Rosso. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
In other driver news, Giovinazzi is being promoted to the Sauber seat.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that if any ever confirmation was needed, Sauber's now the official Ferrari B team. That's kind of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Plus, Raikkonen has already gone and had a seat fitting and everything like that, and you wouldn't do that unless there were very friendly terms between teams. So,
no, exactly.
So there's that, which is nice. Let's see what else was there. There's a league. So basically, there was a Russian company who tried to bid for Force India. Apparently, had a higher bid for the team, which was rejected. Are suing the administrator, saying they should be allowed to own the team. I don't know if that's going to do anything, but it's a thing that happened.
I doubt that's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I can't see it going anywhere either.
Someone's had their nose cut off and is now a bit bruised and battered and wants a bit of compensation for that.
Yeah, they're just, again, it's just making noise and it seems a bit of a meh. So there's that. Haas have retained Magnussen and Grosjean, although apparently Grosjean's on his last warning.
What? As in get better or get out?
Well, Grosjean's only 3 points away from an automatic race ban from the point system that they have. I mean, Goodsteiner didn't outright say, shape up or you're out. He just said, "You're on thin fucking ice, my son, and I shall be under it when it breaks." Nah, fuck off.
I think if he got a race ban, then I don't think we'd see him again.
No, I don't think so either. To be honest, I think if he had another, and I'm quoting from David Croft, pointless season next year, we won't see him again.
Yeah.
So that was that. Let's see what else was there. No, I think that was about it. It seems to be all of the major stuff. Okay. Unless there's anything that you saw in between that I missed.
No, I haven't seen anything that's been knocking around at all. I think you've hit on everything that I was thinking of. Giovinazzi, obviously,
it's mostly just driver news, and even then, it's not really big news. It's just stuff that's going on.
Not really, no. Yeah. That's all I've got from you.
Oh, there we go then.
Cool. Okay then. Well, shall I get into the free practices and the qualifyings?
Yes, because I saw none of these. I haven't even watched the highlights of qualifying.
Have you not? Well, okay.
Because I saw a tweet from the very reputable at Grand Prix Podcast, at Grand Prix Prod on Twitter, and they just said it wasn't worth effort, so I didn't bother.
It really wasn't. Well, there were a lot of grid penalties this time round, weren't there?
Yes, there were. In fact, I believe, because when I was watching the qualifying, how the grid's lined up, and it goes, and the Williams are at like 12th and 13th, and I thought, oh, they did really well then. And then he goes, but they finished last in Q1. It's like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, it was a very confusing place to be. I'm just totting up the amount of grid penalties that we had, or how many places. Okay, have a guess on how many grid slots were penalised on this race.
You know, I obviously, because the way we do these things, I have the page open in front of me.
I do. Go on, have a quick guess.
There's going to be close to 200.
193. 193.
Now, to be fair, that was spread across 6 drivers.
Yep.
And I do believe 3 years ago, Jenson Button had about that many on his own.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, they did really good that day, didn't they?
Yeah. The good old Honda back in the day.
Yeah. So that kind of cocked up everything that went on in qualifying. But free practice, nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. There was, I suppose, the highlight of all of the free practices was in free practice 3 when everyone was trying to set hot laps and try and get their setup ready for the qualifying. And people were either going really fast or backing off, as we all know. And there was a situation where one of the Red Bulls was coming down the main straight, letting a lot of people through, and then Vettel came out of the pits and almost chopped his nose off. That is about as exciting as it got. It was just, okay, let's just watch these cars burn fuel for the next 3 sessions. There's nothing to write home about it. I'm really trying to find something and grasp onto something to talk about, but there's honestly nothing.
Well, then let's just move on to qualifying.
Okay, on to qualifying. What did we have? We had in Q1, Sorokin spun at the very last minute, ruining a number of people's runs, and so we lost out on Stroll, Van Dorn, Sorokin, Alonso, and Hartley. Obviously, these positions changed later on. In Q2, Renault didn't even come out and set a time. And now that was because they were quite happy sitting there, not using any tyres or anything like that. And they knew after all the penalties had been applied, they'd still finish 11th and 12th. They didn't want to go into the top 10 or try and fight for the top 10 because at least they had their allocation of tyres after that. So, yeah, it was a sham, utter sham. There was a point where Hamilton went out on the softs, I think it was. Yeah, went out on the softs and set a time, and then went out on the hypers, trying to lure Ferrari into doing on the hypers as well, and to try and get them to start the race on the hypers. And he backed right off on the very last corner. It was, do you remember when people were spinning out intentionally at the Silverstone Grand Prix many, many moons ago because they wanted to be slowest out so they could be the last person out on the Q3. Yeah. It had rumblings of that. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. So we lost Hülkenberg, Sainz, Gasly, Ricciardo, and Verstappen in that session. And Q3, something happened. Bottas got on pole position, and there was just nothing. It was just dull. Nothing happened, man. It was. I mean, I don't know.
When I saw that Bottas was on pole, I was just like, "Oh, that's a shock." But yeah, other than that, it's just. This is what I think the fundamental problem with Formula One is that it's not about who's the fastest anymore. It's about who can save the most tyres or save the most engines or strategically use the engine penalties and all this sort of jazz.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of miss when it's just... Look, I'm not saying we go back to the days of a quali engine, a quali chassis, quali tyres, and, they're good for one run and that's it, because that's a bit silly. But at the same time, these factors shouldn't be entering into the equation of saving tyres for the race,
no,
or saving engines and everything like that. There should be no restrictions whatsoever on the driver's ability to command the most that is available from their car.
Yeah,
at all. So I don't want to hear fuel saving. I don't want to hear tyre saving. I don't want to hear about, saving this engine for a race they might want to use, in fucking 6 races time or something like that. No, I want someone to light a fucking firecracker out of their arse and send them out.
Well, how many times this season have we had Red Bull turn around and say, right, okay, we're going to take some engine penalties and then next race we'll be fine. Only for then the next race for their engine to go wonky and then they have to throw a new one in the back.
Yeah, or a gearbox or something like that.
Yeah, it's totally ruined everything. And so we had a very topsy-turvy. Even though Lance Stroll finished last, he started 14th after all the penalties were applied.
Wow.
And Max Verstappen, he qualified 11th, even though he set no time in Q2. Look at this. Okay, right.
I'm looking here at the
look at the Q2 session.
Thing. Yeah. No time.
So if you wanted to get into Q3, all you had to do is be 15th and then set a time. That is all you had to do to get into Q3. I could have done that. I probably couldn't have, but
I'm looking at it. It's just wow. And I mean, looking at the Q1 times, I mean, what was even the point?
Mm-hmm. I don't get it.
Lance Stroll's time was a 1:36.4. The final pole time from Bottas was a 1:31.3.
Yeah.
And they're replacing Esteban Ocon with him.
There you go. I'm sure they have like a little retainer on him.
Yeah.
So the whole grid was totally higgledy-piggledy from what was actually set on the Saturday.
This, again, just be clear, I didn't watch qualifying.
Yeah.
But you know what this sounds like? Mm-hmm. This sounds almost as farcical as the 2005 US Grand Prix.
I wouldn't say farcical. There was just no passion was there. I didn't get any energy from anyone at that circuit at all. It is an actual black hole void of energy, that place. I don't think you're ever going to get a really good race there. And I was hoping, because we've had a couple of dull ones, I was hoping, okay, right, this is it, man. This is the one. All the other ones have been the first Azerbaijan race, and now we're going to get like the real Azerbaijan race that turned up a couple of years ago, and think, yeah, this is going to be it. It's all going to be, it was a terrible Saturday, but we're going to be repaid on the Sunday with a cracking race. Do you know, this is the very first weekend I can remember for a long, long time that I haven't really been excited about this race. And I think it is just this circuit, because next week we got Japan and
Suzuka.
I'm not saying you always get a corker there, but man, it's interesting to look at.
Oh yeah. Well, and there's a lot of history there as well, which I love, you know?
Yes.
And there's a very good chance there's going to be a typhoon going on.
Yeah, I heard about that. Oh no. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. So we might even have qualifying on the Sunday at some point.
We might have qualifying on the Sunday, or we might even have a race on a Saturday. Who can say? We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Next week. Although not wanting to put too much of a downer, but let's remember the last time we had a race under those conditions, we lost Jules Bianchi.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, careful what we wish for.
Yeah. Very, very much careful what we wish for on that front.
Okay.
Do you want to run through the top 10 then for quali?
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, Bottas ended up with pole position from Lewis Hamilton in second position. Sebastian Vettel was the third fastest driver out there. Kimi Räikkönen was fourth. Kevin Magnussen was fifth in his Haas. Esteban Ocon and Charles Leclerc were sixth and seventh. Sergio Perez was eighth. Romain Grosjean ninth. And Marcus Ericsson putting his Sauber in the top 10.
That's really good going. And I think that's the highest position Sauber's been, certainly this season, possibly in the last couple.
Well, I think in the hands of Charles Leclerc, it's a pretty good car. And them signing Giovinazzi, I think, and getting rid of Ericsson, I think that just says a lot.
Oh, them. I think if it wasn't for the fact they were getting Räikkönen, they'd be really hurting about losing Leclerc.
Yeah, that was definitely in the contract of giving them Leclerc, wasn't it?
Well, he's a Ferrari driver anyway, so I don't really think they had too much say in it.
No. But it was a case of, okay, well, now you've got 3 drivers. Do we get one back? And they went, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah. We are definitely seeing, just as far as drivers goes, like power blocks where it's Mercedes and Ferrari and Red Bull are providing almost all the drivers.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels that way with the young driver programs because, you know, they don't want to put them in their top teams, which just is it's silly. But, well, not enough seats for the people that want to be there. It's
the big money firms that have the driver programs that are doing this. And
yeah,
look, it is the future now. That's the way it's going to be for a number of years. They've set their ways in stone and they are drawing these drivers through and it's starting to work. So I don't see it changing within the next 5-10 years at all.
Well, if you think about it, with the exception maybe of Button, every champion for the last decade has been from a young driver program. You know, Vettel came out of the Red Bull one, Hamilton came out of the McLaren one.
Rosberg, he started at Williams, didn't he?
Yeah, but I still think before that he was in the Mercedes program.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. No, yeah, but it definitely the days of the drivers financing themselves, sort of things, working their way up, and you know, keeping their that just seems to have gone.
Yeah, driving their Sierra around with a caravan on the back and sleeping in the caravan just so they can.
You kind of get the patronage of the team early on, and you know that kind of sees you through.
Yeah.
But as we're seeing with Esteban Ocon, if there is no space for you in one of their teams, you know, berths, that can really bite you in the arse. Although I still don't see why he doesn't have a seat. I mean, Mercedes could turn around to Williams and just say, seat, chop.
Yeah, but they've got contracts, haven't they? They've all got contracts.
Well,
and
they've got contracts, but Stroll's out. We already know that.
Yeah. Hang on. Who is in Williams next year then?
They've not announced.
They haven't announced.
No, it's presumably Sirotkin, because he's bringing money. But Stroll's almost definitely off to Force India.
Yeah.
Although I won't lie, I will literally keel over laughing if his dad decides not to put him into Force India after paying it because he thinks there's a better chance with, you know, Ocon and someone else. And that would just be the best.
That would be, wouldn't it?
It would.
Okay, cool. Right, well, should we get into this race? Because I think you're going to have to talk me around on this race.
I don't know if I can be bothered to do that, but I'll try.
Okay, yeah, because from what I saw, it wasn't a procession, and we do have some talking points to go through because there's a major one towards the very end of this race. There's a bit of a bit of a plot twist.
A major one, which we will absolutely get to.
But
a bit of a plot twist, yes.
Yeah, but from the get-go, this was the most formation flying I've seen from any start in a long, long time. This was choreographed just to screw up the Ferraris, and rightly so as well.
Yeah, I was actually impressed with that, though, in that how well it was choreographed. Because you have, Bottas gets away cleanly, and all of a sudden Vettel's getting a tow. Bottas very quickly realizes this and cuts across and gives Hamilton a tow, which I thought was, very clever, being aware. Gets Hamilton up alongside him, and between the Mercedes, they basically did, area denial. They just said, you're not coming through. That's not happening. Yeah, and just denied Vettel the place. And I doff my cap to them. It was beautifully well done. So, yeah, I think you're right. It was formation flying. But it was damn good formation flying.
Oh, it was. And to the point where Hamilton, didn't he block a wheel going into the first corner as well? I'm sure he locked up a wheel.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did. I'm not saying he didn't. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But, he certainly ran Vettel out wide. But it was very, very clean for no one. There was no swapping of carbon fibre. There was no one doing anything overly stupid. They got through cleanly. Bottas was out ahead, Hamilton in second, and then we just kind of settled in for, at the front anyway, a period of, engine and tyre saving. But whatever, it was always going to be happening.
Yeah.
But what was far more interesting was one Mr. M. of Verstappen, who decided that despite starting third from last, was it?
He started 19th. So second from last.
So despite starting second from last, said, no, I don't think so. And within, 2 laps was up to 7th?
It was a very short amount of time. I think he was about 5 laps and then he was up to 7th. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It was a very brief amount of time. And in the same breath, Ricciardo wasn't making any headway at all, was he?
He wasn't. And at first, I was just feeling, this is why Max is the one they're hunting for, and Ricciardo's not there. But we later found out he'd had a bit of contact.
Yeah,
and he'd lost an entire element from his front wing.
Mm-hmm. And
he still pulled his car up to 6th place, I think it was, when he finally pitted.
Yeah.
So he still got there. It just it took him a lot longer, but. Fair play to him. Could we just very quickly, though, talk about that bit of wing damage? Because I don't know if you heard this, but that bit of carbon fibre struck Pierre Gasly in the helmet.
Did it? I was unaware of that.
No, there was a report on Autosport that I was reading at. Yeah, it basically it got past the halo. It struck him on the visor.
Mm-hmm.
And fell into the cockpit, and then he had to throw it out of the cockpit because it was distracting him. But yeah, a piece of carbon fibre flew up and smashed into his helmet. And
are there any photos?
Again, not meant to get overly. Not that I've seen,
right.
At least not in the article.
Yeah.
But I was going to say the thing that killed Senna was a piece of wheel strut piercing his visor.
Yeah.
That's what actually killed him. So, it's small little stuff like that getting past the halo, which just reinforces my point. Just go for a closed canopy. That is the extent of my commentary on it. But I just wanted to point out that a piece of carbon fibre flew into the cockpit and actually hit him in the helmet.
He must be sat there going, okay, someone up there doesn't want me at all, do they?
Well, Gasly.
Oh, sorry.
Gasly's all right. Obviously.
Sorry.
Yes, Gasly, not Harley.
Yeah. No, I thought you meant Leclerc. Sorry, I thought you said Leclerc. So, Gasly. Okay, fine.
Yeah. No. Yeah, it was Leclerc. That definitely might be one of them. Okay, maybe I need to rethink this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's not the reason why he retired from the race, though, was it?
No, it wasn't. Within a corner of each other, both of the Red Bulls suddenly spun out. Not Red Bulls, the Toro Rosso spun out.
Yeah.
There was some kind of brake failure on the Toro Rossos. I think the brake pedal was going very long. So you go to apply the brake, you keep pushing until you hit the back of the firewall in front of a chassis, and you still don't stop.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. So they both ended up going out for that as well, didn't they? So that was on the first lap as well, wasn't it?
It wasn't the first lap, but it was in the first couple of laps.
Okay.
It was very, very, very terrifying and very strange to have it happen to both cars at the same time. Now, slight separate thing, Honda brought a load of engine upgrades for Toro Rosso, but they didn't race with them. They fitted them to, I think, take the engine penalties.
Yeah.
But in the end, they didn't race with them. They went with the other previous engine because they wanted to save this engine for the next race.
Yeah.
Which strikes me as, I don't quite know how that works, because I suppose they put the engine in for practice and then just didn't run it in qualifying, but because they exceeded it over the course of a weekend, they had to take the penalty. I don't know what the ins and outs of that are.
Isn't this like what Mercedes did a little while ago with Hamilton, where they banker parts for later races?
Yeah, but I thought he still had to race with those.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah. All I'm saying is because Ted was saying they didn't race with the engine this weekend because they want to save it for Suzuka. But what they were saying is this is the Holy Grail. This is the engine Ron Dennis promised back in 2015. To which I reply, well, what fucking good is that now in 2019 when, that's 4 years ago that was supposed to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So if this is the Holy Grail that Ron Dennis promised, then around about by Spain
it's going to do him a lot of good,
year,
isn't it?
Well, yeah. By Spain next year, they'll be on the podium. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see, because they're bringing a lot of these parts to Suzuka, so we'll just have to see where they go with that.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm still very skeptical of the Honda project. If they do well, that's great. I love Honda, I really do. But they done fucked up. They done fucked up hard.
Yeah.
And McLaren fucked up too, but it was just, they both fucked up.
They both fucked up, and they were both pointing at each other, weren't they? And saying, no, it's their fault. It's their fault.
To be fair, it was a lot more McLaren pointing at Honda saying it's all their fault.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's not dwell on that. It was on lap 4 their engines, their brakes failed.
Okay.
But yeah, very strange to have them both fail at the same time. And that was it. Those were our only retirements for the race, as far as that goes.
Mm.
But we had some really good overtaking from Max Verstappen cutting his way through the field. He went through bone like butter.
Yeah. No, I thought he was doing really well. He was overtaken on the outside, he was overtaken on the inside, and he was making it look easy.
He really was. And it was just, it just goes to show when you've got that much of a deficit and on a circuit you can pass, it just shows that you can pass. What was an interesting note from Crofty during the race today was last year there was only one overtake in the entire race.
Oh.
Only one. Whereas at least, there was lots and lots of overtaking at least. So
this was a good race for a Russian Grand Prix as compared to a different circuit.
Maybe that's why we have different perceptions of it here, because I was expecting an absolute shitter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. But it sounds like you were expecting a bit more.
I don't know if I was expecting, I was hoping for a bit more, didn't get it, and then I look at the whole weekend and go, well, okay, something happened there, someone got points, and then we all move on. It's kind of a wasted weekend. Yeah,
a little bit. I didn't have to watch the whole weekend, so yay for me. Let's have a quick talk about Force India, though, shall we?
Okay, yeah, because they got stuck behind one of the Hasses, didn't they? Magnussen, wasn't it?
Yeah, they got stuck behind Magnussen, and we had Ocon being followed by Perez. And let's not forget, they're not allowed to race anymore after the last race.
That's right, yeah.
Because apparently they can't be trusted. So you have Perez going, please, sir, can I go? Can I have a go? And then you have what's his name? Is it Omar or something like that? I want to say Omar Sharif. I know that's not his name, but anyway, but the Force India this guy coming on a thing saying, you have 3 laps. If you can't do it in 3 laps, we're going to swap you over.
Yep.
3 laps going by, so they swap them around, and that doesn't happen. And they were worried about Hulkenberg because they felt that when Hulkenberg pitted, he'd get ahead of them, and obviously they're still fighting for championship points since they've given up all their points from earlier. So they were waiting to see what would happen, and then they realised they were going to be ahead of Hulkenberg anyway. They're like, okay, you've got to swap back. You've got 2 more laps. If you're not within DRS range at the end of the 2 laps, you're swapping.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, and they swapped again, and then they just finished the race behind, just like that. So, not overly exciting what was going on there, but it was nice to see them being respectful. They do seem a bit browbeaten, the pair of them, though.
Yeah.
And with Ocon, I was going to say, since you're not racing from next year, I'd be a bit more like, fuck them.
Yeah. I totally agree with your. You saying that they feel a bit browbeat. Do you know, going away from this weekend, I feel that everyone is a little browbeaten about this whole weekend. Everyone's a bit down, a bit not sure as to what actually happened. These 2 Force India guys, this was a legitimate tactic on years gone by where you would let your teammate go, let him have a go at the person in front, wear him down a little bit, you'd take over him again, and then you'd have a go at him, and then once he'd worn out his tyres, you sail past. You both sail past.
Yeah, because you get pulled along by the other one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And now, that's kind of not... You can't get close enough to put that sort of pressure on them anymore.
It's definitely changed, and they don't really have that same camaraderie, I suppose. The team spirit. It seems like it's a bit harder to get it out of them, I suppose. I don't know.
I think that's where maybe it's where the sport has totally changed. Where you had, I'm not saying that all drivers used to disappear after a race and go have a pint with each other, but these guys are definitely not going off and having a pint with each other. They're in the gym separately. They're doing everything separately, and then they come here to race to beat your teammate. And whereas years gone by, it was, right, the first person I need to beat is my teammate, and then everyone else on the circuit. But do you know what? We'll have a pint after as well. And that kind of mentality has gone. And so if you brought that back, then maybe you would get team spirit racing again. But this is just for me looking outside inwards. But it might be totally different from the inside. But it just seems like there is something lacking there. And it's a shame that you can't have these 2 excellent drivers going up against Magnussen, who's a bit dirty, because he did do some dirty moves on these guys as well, blocking them off and such. And them still not being able to wear his car down to the point where they can both slip through. Yeah.
And you'd think after... Because there was definitely some moments when you could see he was a lot weaker than the Force Indias, and you thought, oh, they're going to have him now. But you get him around the next corner and he was just off.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. Did you see the move on Charles Leclerc made around the outside of turn 3?
I did, yeah.
I think that was on Magnussen as well, wasn't it?
I think that was, yeah. No, that was really good.
That was a good move.
He had a good one last. He had like the only decent move in Singapore as well.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But yeah, I thought that was ballsy stuff. I know it was early on in the race, so you haven't got the marbles laid down there, as I think Grosjean found out a couple of years ago when he slammed his Lotus into the wall. But this time round, it's still a gutsy move to put it on and to actually go around the outside, because they've got equal engines in them cars, haven't they?
Yeah, because the rules now state that customer teams have the same engines available as the manufacturers. But that being said, you don't know if that engine's got 3 more races to do, or if it's his last one, or if it's his first one, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So they could be at different points in their life cycle, which is something else I hate. But I mean, the only reason they have to do that is because these engines are so sodding expensive as well.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. Okay, should we go into the meat of this race then? Because there was a kind of battle up the front, wasn't there? There
was a bit of a battle up the front. I mean, yeah. obviously you have Mercedes very, very strong this weekend. Ferrari on the back foot, I think it's fair to say. Kimi didn't really factor. He was kind of a non-entity this weekend, I felt.
Yes.
In the race. So it was really Sebastian against the two Mercedes, just trying to battle through as best he can. And I also, just setting the scene for everyone, I think it's safe to say now that the championship fight is solely between Lewis and Vettel. I think Bottas technically has a mathematical chance, but only if Lewis and Sebastian were unable to finish any of the remaining races and he won every single one.
Yeah.
And even then it's just a bit, it's in all practical terms, he's out of it. So just setting the scene for you there.
Yeah. No, that's correct.
So, Bottas, on pole, out in head, he's going, and that's fine. I think he pitted first.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah, he pitted first. Did what he had to do, jump back in behind Kimi. Then Vettel pitted. Now, they kept Lewis out for an additional lap after that. It seemed like they were probably going to try and just stretch him into a bit longer. But they realised that this was an undercut circuit, not an overcut circuit, and he came up against, I think, Lance Stroll at just the wrong place in his lap. So he dived into the pits. And we had a little bit more gamemanship from Ferrari bringing out their mechanics in the pit lane, as you do.
Well, they did say that Mercedes had done that in, I think it was Italy. I think they'd done that so that Ferrari had to drive around their pit crew.
Yeah, they did. Actually, if they really wanted to screw over Lewis, they should have brought Kimi in.
That's true, yeah.
Because what you could have done then is Lewis would have had to wait while Kimi's passing. He wouldn't be allowed to be released, and that would have guaranteed he'd come out behind Sebastian. As it was, though, it didn't really matter because he still came out behind Vettel, just behind Vettel, and it was a very tight little thing. And we had a little bit of a fight going on around the next couple of corners. Where now, so the first bit of this, and I'm finger quoting controversy because I don't think it was, there's an allegation that Vettel moved twice in the braking zone.
Okay, yeah, let's get your thoughts on that then.
Now, this kind of comes down to, I think, how you choose to interpret that rule or the intention of that rule. So it says you can't move twice in the braking zone. But I think the intention of that is to stop weaving, as in, I move over to the left, you move over to the right, so I move over to the right to stop you doing that.
Yeah.
That is what I think the intention of the rule is here. Now, what happened here was Vettel moved over to the right, and then he moved a bit more right.
Yeah.
And at no point was Lewis anywhere alongside him. He was always behind the car. So it wasn't like he took his nose off. So while it was two moves, or rather two separate things, it was actually more of just one move done in two parts. He didn't change his direction or anything like that. So
okay.
I personally don't have a problem with it. He moved, and I think he realised he'd left a bit too much space there.
Yeah.
So we just moved a little bit more to properly block it off. Lewis wasn't alongside. Was far enough back that he was able to avoid, as evidenced by he didn't crash. And quite frankly, he made it past him at the next corner anyway. So it wasn't like it seriously damaged or broke his rhythm or anything like that. So I don't think that warranted any kind of penalty myself. I think that rule, and I'm not a fan of that rule, and I'm on record saying I don't like the no moving on the braking zone. I think if you want to weave down a fucking thing, go right ahead, son. It's kind of a guy behind to get past you. But that's a deeper conversation about why these cars just can't overtake. We have to have these artificial rules because it's just so fucking So that's just the way of that. But yeah, I don't have any problem with them not penalising him for that. I'd have been annoyed if they had done, to be honest.
Okay, when I saw it, I did jump up and go, he moved twice. That's not on. He did move twice. And I know what you're saying about the move twice. It's generally meant for the dummy, isn't it? So if you throw a dummy, they cover it, and then you can't recover it again on the other side. And I thought it was two clear moves. I thought he moved him to position, straightened up, and then moved again.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I'm concerned, if you move and stop that move, then reapplying a move either way is still a second move. I thought he moved twice. I'm surprised he didn't get a penalty. I thought Lewis was always behind him anyway, but he did have to slam on the anchors, and possibly if he hadn't been able to avoid it, then Vettel would have been in hot water for causing a collision.
Again, I don't think that's... I hear what you're saying, a move is a move, left or right. But then you get into situations where there's some places where the car then has to rejoin the racing line.
Yeah.
So is that a second move then? And is that then when you've got to start penalising people for doing that as well? Because they moved to defend and now they've got to move over to the racing line. I'm not having a go at you. I'm just saying there's definitely there has to be some leeway in how you interpret the two-move thing.
Yeah. The
rule of itself is just, But
I wonder if the rule actually stipulates a move, a second move is classed in the opposite direction toward what the first move would be.
What I think it's supposed to be, because I think the reason that rule exists is because you used to have Max Verstappen weaving down the braking zones. Like he would go left and then go right and then go left again.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're allowed to do that now because of Max.
Not allowed to do that because of Max. It used to be that Max would do that, they complain, and that's why they put the rule in.
I thought they got rid of that though.
Did they? I thought they brought it in because they were always calling it the Max Verstappen rule.
Yeah, I thought they brought it in and then they got rid of it. I swear I'm right on that. I'll have a look.
My point is,
yeah.
Have a by all means. And let's just remind everyone, we're idiots. We haven't got a fucking clue.
Oh, thank you for reminding them. That's excellent.
Funny you should mention this. So while you look that up, I'll share a little anecdote. On Facebook, one of my memories came up this last week from when Hamilton signed with Mercedes. And my comment was, why'd you do that, you stupid plonker? Well, no more World Drivers' Championships for you idiot. And then there was a discussion with me and a couple of friends about how, he's left McLaren, a team that's proven. Mercedes has never consistently won World Championships, and with the exception of the Brawn Championship of 2009, that team that just hasn't demonstrated the ability there. Which just goes to show, I don't know a fucking thing. So please, don't anyone listen to me like I have any sense of authority here.
Yeah, and you saw my version of that as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Yours was much akin to that scene from The Holy Grail and they were forced to eat Sir Robin's minstrels, and there was much rejoicing. Yay.
Well, yeah, I think mine was, what was it? So Lewis has moved to Mercedes, ... That was it. Very much covering bases on that.
Yeah.
Right, I've had a little look, and on Autosport,
yes.
I'm trying to find the date of it. I can't find the date of it, but it says the FIA has dropped the Max Verstappen rule governing Formula One's conduct in braking zones as part of its bid to allow greater freedom on track in 2017.
Okay.
Now, whether that has been upheld again for this year, because I thought there was something from this year. But yeah, they applied it and then they got rid of it.
Okay. Well, there you go. I still think that the intention of the rule, though, was to stop weaving, so going one direction and then the other.
Yeah.
And with what Vettel had done, he'd moved, and I think he just realised that there was still a car's width next to him, so he just moved a little bit more to cut that off. And since there wasn't a collision, Lewis was at no point up alongside him or anything like that. It seems fair enough to me.
Yeah.
And as I said, he passed it the next corner, so it wasn't like there's a huge issue for him.
No, so he got him, didn't he? And finally we had
Probably got him as well.
Yeah, right, okay. This is one thing I wanted to have a little moan about. This is about Formula One in general and their TV, their output from their TV as well.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
Because the move that Hamilton made wasn't fully captured on live broadcast. Because the onboard cameras, and they've been like this for a number of seasons, and maybe 10 seasons ago, they weren't this bad at all. There's probably about half a second to maybe a second delay on the broadcast from the car to the live feed. And so when you flip from live feed to car, you get a replay of about half a second to a second of the footage you've just seen on the live. But when you flip back from an on-car to the live feed, that you lose that time in between. So you jump ahead half a second at least. And in Formula One time, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. So we were live on board Hamilton as he's going around and going to the outside to cut in on turn 4 on Vettel. We cut to the live feed and he's already alongside him. And you lost that moment in time. And I keep tweeting them. I don't know if they keep losing my tweets or if someone keeps writing them down on a post-it note and it keeps flying out of the window or what. But someone needs to pull their thumb out of their arse and get this sorted because it's pissing me off now. This is really, really pissing me off. This is a multi-billion company and sports. I'm paying a lot to see this. You're paying a lot to see this. And it's frustrating when I can see that little half a second gap. And it's blatant. And there's just no need for it. Years ago, we didn't have that. When you cut from the car to the live feed, you didn't have a jump. It would be where they were when they left. And it's frustrating me. Sorry.
It really is a bit with that. I mean, something that really frustrated me while we're moaning about this. Why do we need to see Vladimir Putin alive?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because wasn't that in the middle of that battle?
It was right. It blocked the pass where Bottas let Lewis through.
That's right.
We didn't see it live, or we didn't hear the commentary on that because they cut over to Vladimir Putin arriving, and I'm like, don't give no fucks at all. A, he's been there for every other one, so it was obviously he was going to be here for this one. But B, he is not a nice individual, and I don't particularly feel the need to be giving him, all this kudos. I mean, hell, I see they wheeled out Bernie for this as well. Even made him wear a jacket. My God. So, yeah, I don't care about him arriving. I want to watch, arguably the most pivotal moment of the race. And we didn't get that. In fact, we also had, and this was more of a Sky thing, I think, at one point they interrupted, there was some action going on the track, and they're giving an interview with Gasly. And it's like, again, kind of don't care, Gasly. Your brakes failed and you're a nobody. I want to know what's going on with this race for the lead right here and now. So, it's just they just need to sort out their priorities a little bit.
Well, I think the actual feed is done by the local. It used to be done by the local TV crews, didn't it? And then it would go worldwide. I don't know if that's changed or not, but I suppose it being Russia and then Putin turns up, then they need to kind of, oh look, here he is. Let's all not start sweating. And, yes, let's just film him coming in. Maybe they could have just cut to a picture-in-picture and thrown that up there. We have the technology to do that. We do. If you have to do it, let's do that.
Yeah. Even if you, even if you would do, the other way around. So it's a small picture of a race. At least let me see what's going on.
Yeah. Don't take the viewers away from something that they're not there to watch. I'm not there to watch Putin turn up. I'm there to watch the race. And I thought he would turn up halfway through anyway. And then they go sit in, in inverted commas, the royal box. And you think, okay, right, they are the crappiest seats in town. The actual seats that they've got, they are on the start-finish straight almost across the start-finish line.
Yeah.
And the cars aren't even going full tilt at that point, are they? You're coming off a 90-degree corner, so you're not going to get the best vantage point of a car anyway. So they're crap seats. So I'm glad he got a crap seat.
I don't think those are the seats to watch the race. They're the seats to be seen in.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. They're opposite the grandstand, aren't they?
Yeah, basically. So anyway, that's my wine about Formula One. But yes, let us talk then about what is arguably the pivotal moment of the race.
Yeah.
Bottas was asked, or rather told, to let Lewis through, and then was not asked to swap back again. So, your thoughts, sir?
My thoughts. Well, Valtteri Bottas is Valtteri Bottas, and his teammate is 4 times world champion Lewis Hamilton. And
2018 world champion leader.
That's correct, yes, with almost double the points of Valtteri Bottas. So when you're told to move over, you should expect that call to happen. I don't get why he's cheesed off. Well, okay, I understand why he's cheesed off, because he done everything that he was there to do. He got pole position and he should have won that race. But when you're Valtteri Bottas, you shouldn't be surprised that you get that call. You're driving along and your car phone rings and you pick it up and could you just let the person behind in the same car go past? And you go, yes, sir. Okay, I will do that. And then you have free Mercedes for the rest of your life. That's what his job is. His job is not there to beat his teammate. His job is there to help Lewis Hamilton to become a 5th times world champion. Because Mercedes brought Lewis Hamilton into that team for him to be the poster boy of the 3-pronged star. So there's no doubt. I get why he's cheesed off, but I don't get why he's so cheesed off, because he knew that was going to be happening.
Yeah, at this point of a championship, it's clear that this is a 2-horse race. It's between Vettel and Hamilton. I was trying to find that graph which shows you the points difference between the leader and the second place, and you can see how much it is. I'm pretty sure before the summer break, it was like a 40-point difference in points between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So coming into this race, there was a 40-point gap again, which has already been overturned at least once this season. Now, on Twitter, the comparison was made to Schumacher and Barrichello at the Austrian Grand Prix in 2002.
Right.
Now, the difference here is we're the 6th race, 5 races left to go now at this point, yeah?
Yeah.
Austria was in the first half of the season. It was very early in the day to be doing that sort of stuff, and that was wrong. There was no argument about it there. Although, Barrichello knew his place. All respect, he was clearly the number 2 driver. That's what he was there and paid to do. And Ferrari were very poor in the way they did it. But this time around, it makes sense. If you're probably the first time it's the first time you're in a tight fight with a other manufacturer for the title, pretty much since you came back to Formula One.
Mm.
Do you want a 43-point advantage or a 50-point advantage?
Yeah.
I want the 50-point advantage. Let's think back to, was it 2016, where Malaysian Grand Prix, Lewis's engine just went pop. Instant 26 points go right there and then. 50 points is not an insurmountable amount for Sebastian Vettel to overtake. All it would take would have been 2 DNFs for Lewis, and there's 5 races left to go.
Mm.
So if Bottas had finished ahead, so it's a 40-point difference, and if Lewis had 2 DNFs, which is an outside of realm of possibility, be it through engine failure or an accident or anything like that, and if Vettel then won by anything less than 7 points, well, we know where it happened. It happened here. This is where the championship would have been lost, by having those 7 points available and not taking them. It's a cutthroat thing. I don't like it any more than anyone else does. I don't think Lewis wanted or expected this. But like you say, if your name's Valtteri Bottas and you're in the Mercedes team at this point, you know what your job's for. And if you don't like it, there's a list longer than my arm of people who will take that seat quite happily.
Oh yeah, there are, and I think if you don't want to be giving up that position and going for the win, then you need to take the fight to Lewis, which Bottas kind of hasn't. I know he's been tripped up a couple of times where he had the puncher in Azerbaijan and he broke down in Austria, where he was pretty much bang on to win both of them races. But he hasn't been winning any of the other races, has he? He hasn't really been in a position to win any of the other races. And so...
No, he doesn't. And there was the line he said when he came on the radio, I was going to go faster the next lap. Well, that's not good enough,
Oh, man. No. Look, I don't like it. I didn't like it when Ferrari did it. I didn't like it when they did it to Massa and Alonso. I think the one that really sticks in the throat is the one that you mentioned in Austria, where Barrichello was winning up until the last corner and then he yielded on the last corner. I think that is what gave everyone the foul taste in their mouth, that it was right in front of the fans as well. But this is just a contract playing out on the pitch. That is what's happening there. And people don't like it, but that's what's written down. That's what gets signed at the beginning of the season. And everyone knows their position. Everyone knows their places that they have to play. We as fans know that this can happen. I would rather Lewis have to fight for the position, and I think he will go on to win the title. So I think once he's wrapped up the title, then Valtteri will get the wins after that, but it's not going to be until maybe second or third to last race anyway. And then is Valtteri going to really want to win them races when they're handed to him because Lewis is allowing him to win? That's not quite the victory that he wants either, is it?
It's not. And again, I just want to look at the situation we had in like Austria and with Massa and Alonso. Vettel was right on the tail of Hamilton. He was just over a second and a half behind him. So he was actually in danger of being caught by Vettel, when we get into traffic, and he had a bit of a blister. Nothing too serious. But with the Barrichello and Schumacher one, there was no immediate danger from the car behind at all. So it makes sense for me at that moment. They did the swap, get that buffer and build it up. The whole argument about why you didn't swap back, well, at that point, it's like, well, no, we want the extra points, thank you very much, because they'll be useful. But I don't, if Vettel was further down the road at that point, or if, there was, Bottas was going faster, so there was, let's say, a 4-second gap between Lewis and Vettel, I don't think they would have swapped. I think they were quite happy letting Bottas win up until the point Lewis became exposed. And at that point, they decided to do it. And at that point, it's like, well, once it's done, it's done now. I don't see moving back. It takes time to swap cars around. If you do something wrong, you get under marbles. Vettel was still close enough that he was a threat. I don't think you can engineer it in a way that you can guarantee Vettel wouldn't sneak through at the same time.
Yeah,
I just don't think there was any way to really do it.
I think that's what bugged me about it the most, is that Bottas got on the phone asking, so is this not going to get swapped back? Because you've swapped around, and so you have to stick to that. You know that that's the way it's going to happen. It's not as if you're battling through traffic and we can't get through this person, so I've let him have a go, so okay, we'll just return the favour. It's not that type of situation. And also when Bottas did let him through, did you see how much speed he dropped off? How much he threw them anchors out to let Lewis Hamilton through? He practically stopped, indicated, put his hazards on, wait for Lewis to come through, and then accelerated.
Well, I mean, fair play. Now, they said, we want you to do it at turn 13. So he did. He did exactly what he was asked to do, and he did it without any question, which was great. I know we keep harking back to this 2002 season, but this was the potential team orders issue, yeah? I just want to give you the stats for... I've already mentioned in that race, there was... The main contender outside of Ferrari was Williams with Juan Pablo Montoya.
Mm.
So here is the final standings for the 2002 season. Well, firstly, the Austrian Grand Prix was the 6th Grand Prix out of 17, yeah? But the final standings, points-wise, for 2002, Schumacher won with 144 points.
Mm-hmm.
Then Rubens Barrichello was second with 77 points.
Wow.
And then Montoya had 50 points. So I don't take the comparison of it being equal there.
No.
That was Ferrari effectively being a dick to Barrichello. They could have happily given him that win. It wouldn't have affected the championship one iota. You know, Schumacher effectively had 3 times the points of Montoya. Yeah. So that was fine. But in this one, 40 point gap, that's with 5 races to go, or 6 races at that point, that is achievable. They were exposed then. So I don't have an issue with it in the context of, you know, it's a team sport. This was something they were going to do. It didn't surprise me when it happened. It was just like, no, well, there you go. That's fine. Strangely enough, when Vettel was asked about this, he said, well, it's a no-brainer. Of course you're going to do that. We'd have done that if it was reversed with Raikkonen and Vettel. You better believe they'd have done it. They'd have done it a lot earlier.
Well, they did do it, and Kimi got onto the phone and said, okay, just explain what you want me to do. And then they had to physically turn around and say, yeah, okay, let Vettel through, please. Thank you very much. And that's all Bottas needs to do as well. None of this asking, yeah, is he going to let me through? No, they're not. Even if Lewis wanted to, the team are putting their foot down and saying no. And that's all they're saying. They're just looking at him, raising both their eyebrows and going, no, this is how it ends. No. And then you can see Bottas, no, no. And that's...
How about no?
Exactly. That's what it is. Zip it. Exactly. Like that. So it's just... that bugged me a little bit. And then, because that's happened, Valtteri is sulking. And Hamilton hasn't won the way that he wants to. So he's kind of sulking. And Toto has won, but he had to configure things a little bit. So he's sulking a little bit. And Sebastian didn't win the race, so he's sulking a little bit. And Kimi's just sat there going, well, I'm off to Sauber. So he's
Kimi's
sulking
there going,
a little bit.
Kimi's there going, where's my Magnum?
Exactly.
Where's my Magnum, damn it?
The only one that really had a happy smile on their face is Max Verstappen. And really, he dropped off towards the end of the race as well, because he was pounding through. It was his 21st birthday today, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he led most of the laps on this race. And when he dropped in for the pits to go onto the ultras for the final, 15 laps or whatever it was, 10 laps, we all thought, okay, he's going to come out behind Raikkonen. He might get Raikkonen. He might even get Vettel. He has got the pace in that car, and he was doing really well. But then that was it. He was kind of stalled. He came out, the tyres weren't as good as the softs that he threw away. And so that was it. The race was done. There was no more excitement. It was all tease and tickle and no happy ending for me.
I can definitely see that. I mean, I will say that Ferrari, I think, were spot on with the strategy call. And it was nice to see them not fluffing that. But I just don't think the car was fast enough today. No. Which was, a shame. I think this was a much better Russian Grand Prix than one we had last year. I'm not saying that was a high bar to cross, but I do think it was. I do think this was better than the Singapore Grand Prix, but I think that was because I typically expect more from the Singapore Grand Prix. So when we have a bad one, it's more disappointing. Whereas for the Russian Grand Prix, I'm usually just, we'll see.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, if nothing else, Max Verstappen's charge through, kept me relatively entertained, which I liked. We actually, I mean, when you had Bottas, Hamilton and Vettel fly out of the pits and we had, those bits of passing there, that was good. I enjoyed that. And we had some stuff as well with traffic right towards the end, just coming across it at the wrong time. I mean, it's a shame that And again, this comes back to these artificially enforced rules. But it's a shame Max couldn't have tried to do the entire race on that set of tyres. Because you know what? I reckon he probably could have done it.
I think he could have done it as well.
Can you imagine if he'd have won from the back on one set of tyres? The guy would have been hailed as a fucking martyr. Not a martyr, as a messiah. He was just sublime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, and again, I'm not usually Max's biggest fan, but that was a divine drive, so, well, fair play to him there.
I thought he didn't put a foot wrong, and the only reason that we didn't get a crescendo to that race is because he just didn't have the tyres that were correct for his style and possibly the track at the very end of the race.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, well, that's the end of the race. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
I mean, McLaren were anonymous nowhere. There was a nice radio message where they start trying to explain stuff to Alonso, and he just comes and goes, "Dude, I'm 15th. I don't care."
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much. That pretty much sums up McLaren at the minute. Renault seemed to be a bit nowhere as well. They were a bit surprised by that, it seemed. I think they thought they'd be stronger.
Yeah, that's right.
Charles Leclerc had a great race, really strong, so fair play to him. And as ever, Williams are just whatever.
Yeah, what can you do?
I know. I despair for Williams at the minute.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to run down the top 10 then.
Sure.
Lewis Hamilton won the race, as we all know, after Valtteri Bottas, who finished second, let him through. Sebastian Vettel, not surprised with them swapping positions, ended up third. Kimi Räikkönen was fourth. Max Verstappen was fifth. Daniel Ricciardo was sixth after coming in for a nose change. Charles Leclerc was seventh, who he started seventh as well. Kevin Magnussen was eighth. Esteban Ocon was ninth, and Perez was 10th. So I'm going to run down the driver standings. I'll let you do the constructor standings. In fifth position, we have Max Verstappen with 158 points. In fourth, we have Kimi Räikkönen with 186 points. In third position, we have Valtteri Bottas with 189 points. In second position, Sebastian Vettel with 256 points, and Lewis Hamilton was still leading the championship by 50 points, who has 306 points.
Yeah, on the constructors' side, we've got in fifth place Haas with 80 points. Renault are fourth with 91. Then there was a bit of a gap to Red Bull with 292 points. And then there's another bit of a gap to Ferrari with 442. And then Mercedes out in front with 495. And for those wondering, Force India are currently seventh with 35 points.
Hey, they're doing all right for a new team, aren't they?
Not bad at all, yeah.
Cool. Okay, right. Well, before we go into our predictions for the next race, should we go through our predictions for this race?
Yes, we should.
I think that's the way that we do things around here, isn't it?
I think we got like a format we kind of try and stick to. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay, right. So, do you have any recollection of what we went for last time round?
I think we both had to guess who would be on pole, and we both had to guess who would win, and then usually another thing with a bonus thing if you could kind of tie it onto that.
Okay. Okay, so pole position. It went to Bottas, didn't it?
It did, which neither of us guessed.
No, neither of us got. I don't know why I put a point down next to you. You nearly got a point there for some reason.
You got 3 points.
Yeah, I went with Vettel. I didn't get any points. You went with Lewis. You didn't get any points. And so Bottas gets a point. Well done him. For the race, I predicted Verstappen to win, so I get no points. Although, in all of our hearts, I think he won the race, didn't he?
I think he won the race for our hearts. Absolutely, yes.
But unfortunately for me, in this race between me and you predicted Lewis to win the race. So you get a point. Well done, sir.
Yay! I got a point. It's been a while since I've had a point, it feels like.
Yeah, it has. And in our third column, we went for the fastest pit stops. So I'm just going to try and find, if you've got them there to your fingers, that'll be great.
Just a moment. There we go.
Go on then. What do you have them to your fingers?
I do. I'm just waiting for the page to load, which is taking a moment. Because rather than give you text, they have a lovely graphic, which is taking a minute to download here. Come on.
I thought America had like fast broadband stuff.
No, it doesn't. No. Okay, so what did we pick? What did we pick? What were our options?
Okay, we wanted to know the fastest pit stops. Who had the fastest pit stop?
Right.
And I went with Verstappen to have the fastest pit stop, and you went with Mr. Kimi Räikkönen to have the fastest pit stop. And then I think we go for the times after that.
Well, you were closer, because the second fastest was Verstappen.
Oh.
With a 2.45 seconds.
Yeah.
Third was Ferrari with Kimi Räikkönen with a 2.47 seconds. But the fastest was Williams with Lance Stroll with a 2.3 second.
They're clearly concentrating on the wrong aspects of the race.
Well, no, pit stops are an important aspect of a race. But it's maybe you should put mechanics in the car. That seems to be the winning strategy here.
It does, yeah. Okay, so neither of us got a point for that anyway. So what was the
points for either of us.
What was the fastest pit stop?
Lance Stroll with Williams, 2.3 seconds.
Oh, okay, so you were closer with that because I said 2.1 and you said 2.2. So
yes, but it only counted if our guy was the fastest.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, I'm just going to add your score. Oh, this is very tight now. This is getting very tight. So, with you scoring that single point this time round, you have 11 points. And me not scoring any points, I have 12 points.
It's all to play for.
It's all to play for. There's 1 point in it, 5 races to go. This is getting very exciting.
If I had a teammate at this point, I might ask him to sacrifice a point for me with a chance to win, you see.
Unfortunately, it's just me and you, mate. And it turns out I'm your teammate, and I'm in the lead at the moment.
No. You can't throw a race for me, then. That won't work.
No, it's not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen.
It's not. No.
I know what you're going to do, though. You're going to win it on the last race, aren't you? You son of a gun.
I want to try and win it before that, but yeah, basically.
Okay. Right. Okay, so our next race, next week, is the Japanese Grand Prix.
It is. And I should be back in the UK for that one as well.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah. So, would you like some stats from previous races?
Yes, please, if you don't mind.
So, in 2017, pole position was Lewis Hamilton. And the podium was Hamilton from Verstappen from Ricciardo, with a fastest lap from Valtteri Bottas. And in terms of the all-time stats, the most wins, 6 with Michael Schumacher. Lewis and Sebastian both have 4 wins apiece, though.
Okay, cool.
So, and as far as constructors go, McLaren have won it 9 times, Ferrari have won it 7 times, Red Bull and Mercedes have both won it 4 times. So yes, all up in the air there. I'm just seeing, where did the Ferraris finish last year? Vettel was retired on lap 4.
Was it engine bomb?
With a dodgy spark plug.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, so since you're behind at the moment, you get the use of DRS to choose who you want for qualifying and pole position in the race. So who would you like to predict for the pole position?
I'm going to go with a safe bet. I'm going to assume Mr. Hamilton, who desperately wants to start his fashion career and needs to win the championship to allow him to do that.
Okay, fine. Right. I'm going to go with Vettel.
Okay.
Because I think their car is more suited to that track than it was to Sochi or indeed Singapore as well. Because they've just had two real utter bobbing races, haven't they? Well, three really, if you include Italy as well. So yeah, I reckon.
Yeah,
I reckon Vettel anyway. So what about the race? Who do you reckon is going to win the race?
Again, I'm going with a safe bet. I'm going with Hamilton.
You're going with Hamilton. Do you know what? I want to say Verstappen.
Well, before you get on there, let's just remember. Let me just remind you. Predicted to be very wet.
Oh, so it could be anyone, couldn't it?
Could be, yeah.
Oh, man.
Who's usually good in the wet?
Verstappen is. And so's Hamilton as well.
Is, but I was going to say Verstappen, very good, but Red Bull, they think it will run well there. It did want it 2 podiums last time out. So
okay, I'm going with Verstappen then. There we go. I've written it down in pen. You know, you can't rub that shit out.
Not even with those blue erasers you used to get.
No, that's right. Yeah. Not with one of them. They just tear the paper anyway. So, third column. It is a Honda track. It's known as the Honda Japanese Grand Prix. So, would you like to? Do you want to do anything with the Hondas?
I already know what it's going to be. Yeah, I've got it. You're going to love it. Total laps completed by Honda engines.
Oh, okay. And is it a 52 lap race?
The race is predicted 53 laps.
Okay.
So that means there are 106 laps available.
Yeah.
So how many laps will Hondas complete? Bearing in mind, if they're lapped, they don't count. You know, it's only the lead car. Well, ones on the lead lap will finish all 53 laps.
Yeah, so how many do they complete?
Our bonus. Yeah. And I think our fourth bonus should be. Ooh. Are we kind or. If we're kind, it's who's the highest finishing Honda driver. But if we're cruel, it's which one retires first.
Oh, man. But they're going to have super duper engines. They're going to have like the spec 7 or 9 or 11 engine in their car, aren't they?
Supposedly.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, have Honda, have both Toro Rossos finished any races this year? Like, have both of the cars completed full race distances at all? I'm just going to have a look.
Well, yeah, we've had a couple. We had Gasly finish in the top 6 or top 4.
Have both cars finished any races together?
Oh, at the same time. Oh, okay.
Exactly. So the easiest way to do this is probably to just look at Brendan Hartley, just see how he's done.
Oh, shots fired, sir. Shots fired.
It doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No. I'm not saying you're wrong. Just saying shots fired, that's all.
That's true. It's difficult because... Oh, there we go. There's the teams one. So, Toro Rosso. Okay, they both finished in Bahrain. Both finished in China, Azerbaijan, Monaco, Germany, Hungary, Belgium, and Singapore. So they have both finished a fair number of races, and all the retirements bar one have been Hartley. In fact, this race was the first time Gasly's retired.
I'm trying to look on there to find out where Hartley scored his point.
He scored his points in... Germany.
Sorry, you're going to have to say that again. The internet went wonky.
He scored his points in Azerbaijan and Germany.
Right, okay, gotcha. Oh, okay, right. Okay, so how many laps? Well, you need the DRS, so how many laps do you think that they would finish?
I'm going to say 78.
Ooh, okay. So you're going with 78. Okay. I'm gonna... Oh, if it's wet, then anything can happen, can't it? Jeez.
It's true.
Oh, I nearly said 106. No. They are 102.
Even if both cars, I was going to say, even if both cars make it to the end, they're not both finishing on the lead lap.
No, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. 96. I'm going to go 96. I nearly said 102, but I'm going to say 96.
96. Okay.
Yeah.
And our special fourth bonus.
So, who's going to be the lead driver, or what position that would be? What do you want to do?
I don't know. I think. Okay, it's either lead finisher or first retirement, depending on if you're cruel or if you're kind. And I'm being cruel, so I'm going to say Hartley's out first.
You're going to say that Hartley out first, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Out first. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to flip this and say Gasly will finish 10th.
Okay.
Okay.
But you're saying he finishes ahead of Hartley, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
10th ahead of Hartley. There we go. Okay, right, that is written down.
Nice.
We cannot destroy that at all. Well, we can burn it if we want, but, what would be the point in that? So, are you looking forward to the Japanese race? You say that you're going to be back in the UK as well, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be back in the UK. I'm going to be absolutely fucked because my flight lands Friday morning. I'm working Friday afternoon. I'm filming all day on Saturday.
Oh.
So Sunday I'm just going to be fucked. And it's an early one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. You're off to Australia as well, aren't you?
The 18th I'm off, yeah. So the Mexican and American Grand Prix, I'm just, God only knows.
Oh, man. Well, I think we all appreciate you turning up and fighting through it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I always look forward to the Japanese Grand Prix. I think it's a fantastic circuit, and I always enjoy the weekend. Even if it is a bit of a dull race, it's still something pretty to look at. I think it just looks glorious from every angle.
Yeah, it's just one of the classic, good old school races. It's a racetrack where the greats have raced at, and I like that heritage that you have there. That connection to the past is always good.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, what we'll do, I think we'll wrap it up there. So thank you very much to everyone listening. We really do appreciate it. I know there's been a few gremlins through this episode as well, but look, we're on two totally different continents recording this.
It had to be an extra long piece of string to do this time. So,
and there's probably like birds perched on it somewhere along that as well. And it's probably touching a tree because, these flat earthers think that it can just go straight across, but no, it has to curve around the earth as well. So, it's probably perched on, a postman's probably tying in it. It's all this sort of shit that's happening. So, thank you to everyone that's made it this far on this one anyway. So we really do appreciate it. And I'm sure once we're both back on the same continent, then it'll sound absolutely fine again. So,
yeah, for the next race before I'm off again for 2 more.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
To be fair, though, I should be around for Brazil and Abu Dhabi, so that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Well, we'll sort it out. Anyway. Yeah. So, Andy, do you have anything to plug to these people who download podcasts and stuff?
Personally speaking, not really. I've been a bit lax this month because I've been doing shit and stuff in it. But as ever, you can find all of the stuff I do over at RogueTwoMedia.com, where there's a multitude of casts with myself and the good Mr. McManus on subjects such as Formula One, World War II, the Apollo space program, spaceships in general. So tot over there and have a look, and you can have a listen and all that good stuff.
Good man. And you can catch me on the Black Dog Podcast, which is blackdogpodcast.com. You can also catch me on Shonky Lab at shonkylab.com, and the Flix Capacitor, which is a very brand new time travel reviewing movie type show with myself and Mr. Ian Lee. And the next, we are recording this week, so the next one will be out hopefully before the Japanese Grand Prix. So get over there, listen to that, and listen to some time travel people talk about time travel, I suppose. You can catch that on the flixcapacitor.com. So until next time, thank you very much for everyone who's listened to this, and we'll see you again next time. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
Especially if Ultraverne's got a problem because 2.8 has become 1.9 in the space of a lap. So that's going to happen.